I actually did not skip even a single day of school. There was only half a day which I had skipped due to rain or something. Crossing 200 to 300 questions a day, it sounds very daunting, but when you take a lot of reference books and a lot of sources, you will notice that the questions are repeating. That's why I chose Darwin. Darwin actually had this wide array. It had easy, very easy, medium, hard, and very hard. A small amount of uh, extra hard work every day, consistently throughout the year, can yield so much better results. Thanks to Darwin for that revision feature, I could go back and look at mistakes easier.
So let me start by congratulating you, Sahasyaa. You did pretty well. A big congrats from our side.
Thank you.
As far as I understand, this was your first attempt, right?
Yes.
So with the first attempt getting this rank, it's like pretty big achievement. What do you think about it? Was it expected or was it a surprise to you?
It was, I think, sort of expected. I did expect to get like a triple digit rank. Like I expect to get a rank below 1,000, but obviously the competition increased drastically, and I was pushed to 1,057. But it is what it is. But at the same time, the start of the year, I wasn't that sure whether I would come to this level. But I just worked hard and it happened.
So what gave you this confidence that you will be getting pretty good rank?
The confidence was that I have I have experience in competitive exams. I know what a competitive exam is and what needs to be done. What I and Because I have gotten hurt a lot of times, I have missed the cutoff by just 3 marks, 4 marks, a lot of times. For example, KVPY, I just missed it by 1 mark. So all that from all those experiences, I had learned what the mistakes I have done. Either I had become overconfident or I had not studied enough. Some of the other mistakes were there. By hit and trial, I found out all those mistakes, and gladly I was able to correct it before the NEET exam.
So it's good that you mentioned that you have practiced quite a bit and you had appeared in competitive exams. What suggestion would you give for someone who's in 11th grade preparing for NEET? How should he prepare for, like get used to these competitive exams?
So if you are in current 11th right now, the most best thing I can suggest you is it doesn't matter where you study and what they teach you. It matters that what effort you put in matters the most, according to me. The effort, the extra 1 hour which you give that your friends might not give, creates a lot of difference every day. There's actually an equation. One raised to the power 365 is actually one, but 1.01 raised to the power 365 is like some 37.7 something. So that shows like a small amount of uh, extra hard work every day, consistently throughout the year, can yield so much better results. That's my fallacy.
In fact, you really pointed out very well the power of compounding. A little bit extra learning every single day will get you much ahead. That's so true. So this is really good advice that you should always look at your competition. No, your competition certainly is not the friends that you are preparing with. Your competition is a lot other people. So if you are doing good in a group of 50, doesn't mean that you will get through, right? So for NEET, the simplest way to look at it is 1 out of 100 students are going through. So if you are in a group of 50, you are the top one, you still have 50-50 chance of getting through. And that's like getting through means like rank of 20,000, right? It still doesn't mean the top top 1,000 rank or top 5,000 ranks, right?
Yes,
so this is very good advice. Now, going further, can you tell me, like, as you mentioned, you had practiced quite a bit in competitions. How much of daily tests did you use on Darwin?
How much of? I'm sorry.
Daily tests. So we have this small test that happens almost on.
Oh, daily tests. Okay. I didn't hear properly. Daily tests actually are very nice. It's a set of 30 questions. 30 questions in biology, physics, or chemistry in a small section. And for biology, you get 20 minutes. For physics and chemistry, you get 40. And the thing about it is very nice. And it especially helps during the revision time. So when you hit the time of December, January, just as about your board exams are about to start, attempting these tests every day actually will give you an outlook on what part you're weak in and what part you're strong in just by giving like half an hour every day. So I felt that very useful. And uh, more than the daily tests, attempting your own question in a particular chapter early on is better. Early on, daily tests aren't that I'd say useful, but for revision, it is very useful.
That's really great feedback. Well, our goal for daily tests, like if you see, we have broken into 11th section one,
Part one, level yeah.
is really to get every student to really take this test. And as you mentioned, it's a validation of that exponential effect. If a student is taking daily tests starting 11th, he may not be so high as compared to his peer group in that. But if he is really working hard, he will, like we normally see successful students, they're not really good on day zero, but you will see over the period of time, they are inching forward from the competition. And that inch forward, as you say, like 2 years together, that's a huge big difference.
Yes, sir, I agree.
So that's great. Now, coming back to the practice thing, as you were mentioning, when you practice, like what did you focus on? Like how was your practice done?
So, sir, I did bit of an interesting strategy. What I did was I complete a chapter, I learn a chapter completely. So, let's say, for example, I did a thermodynamics today. First of all, I read through the entire chapter, make sure I get every concept clear, and I make sure that I know every formula of the chapter. For example, there's the efficiency of the Carnot engine, 1 minus T2 by T1. And then there is normal first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics. There are formulas for each of that. So I'll make sure I learn all the formulas, write it down on a piece of paper temporarily, and keeping a piece of paper near me, solve as many questions as possible. Just on same day. Same day would be better. Solve as many questions as possible. I was one day with biology, I could touch around 500 to 600 questions per day with biology, which is easy for biology. But for physics, crossing 300 would be a very good achievement. Crossing 200 to 300 questions a day, it sounds very daunting, but when you take a lot of reference books and a lot of sources, you will notice that the questions are repeating. That's why I chose Darwin. Darwin actually had this wide array. It had easy, very easy, medium, hard, and very hard. So I could filter through saying, okay, I'm good with the basics now. I want to do hard questions only. So I can do hard questions only and strengthen the concept. Or let's say I had a bad day. Let's say even the basic questions I'm not getting right. I'll be like, okay, let's focus on the fundamentals now. I'll filter through the very easy questions and just attend the very easy questions first. Then I'll move on to whatever whatever step next.
You really nailed down the right way of practicing. As I always tell anyone who I guide, this is exactly the mechanism to study. It's like you read the book, you spend as much time as you want to, and then open it, keep it on the side. There's no reason to close it, and then start practicing questions. You are allowed to reference the book to answer a question. There's nothing wrong. The focus is not to get a question wrong. And if you start from the easy side, not jumping on the hard side, but the easy side, do the easy one first and then moderate and then keep increasing the difficulty. As you said, even in physics, you can do over 200, 300 questions just fine. Because what you are doing is you are building layer by layer on your strength rather than randomly jumping in and figuring out how to swim. And that is a big distinction. Sadly, most students don't really follow this. For them, it seems like very boring. But I would say have some fun. This is a really good way of practicing. It's like, by the way, let me ask you this. When you were doing this, did it ever felt boring or was it always fun and like challenging?
Uh, Certain chapters are, let's say, it's a bit dry. That's the right word for it. But it's always important to not have anything else to jump on. For example, if I, let's say my only job today is to do those questions. So if I don't do those questions, I have nothing else to do. So I'm forced to do those questions. I had that an interesting mechanism to not make myself get away from the boring chapters. So it, some chapters did feel a bit boring. If I had to name a few, it would probably be uh, kinetic theory. Kinetic theory in physics is it's not a hard chapter, but it was not a very appealing chapter to me personally. Uh, those On the day when I did kinetic theory, I felt a bit bored, but I kept moving on because you need to have a mechanism of not switching to another thing, like picking up your phone and scrolling through whatever. Instead of that, if you have nothing, no distraction beside you, your only focus will be on this.
It's a really good way of doing it, like constraining yourself to say, I will only focus on this and I will not touch anything. So that's pretty good. Which also brings me to the next point. Were you active on social media or other things on the phone?
During 11th, I was not. During 12th, I had in my school, we went to a lot of culturals,
Mhm.
and during that time, I had to install social media to see the details. So for a temporary amount of time, maybe a week, I had it on. After that, I closed it off. I'm really glad I had that self-control. So I just installed it for the Dasara holiday, and once the cultural was over, I immediately deleted it. So social media again, it's not like if you don't have social media only, then you can succeed. It's not like that. If you have a good harmonic, or if you have a good balance between the two, and if you are not, let's say addicted to it, then I'm thinking it's not a really big problem.
So explain me, you were able to handle it by deleting it, but you also understand that all these companies, Google, Facebook, those are there, or TikTok, uh, their business is making their app addictive, literally addictive, right?
Yes, yes, I agree.
So how would you suggest anyone to really have it installed and not have that addiction?
Suggestion would be have have time for everything. Meaning, I had something called as Google Tasks. It's actually a very useful tool. Google Tasks is an app, is a tool where you can write down what you need to do for the day, and you can paste it on your phone wallpaper. I did not have a phone. I had a tab. I just now got a phone. I had a tab, and in the tab, I had pasted it in my wallpaper. What and all have to do for the day. Google does. Once you type it in, Google puts it there for you. And once you're done with it, you can give a checkbox and it will clear. So every time I open my tab, I saw that again and again. So I felt like that was very useful. Number one. And personally, when there are a lot of things pending, I don't like to slack myself. I don't like to procrastinate myself. That's just a personal reach for me. Uh, but the best advice I can give you is even Instagram, for example, has its inbuilt app timer. Once it reaches 1 hour or like half an hour, it will give you an alert saying you've been here half an hour, you've been here an hour. Please leave the app. It will say that. But again, if you are down to earth and if you're obeying that, you can proceed. If you find it's really addictive, there's no choice. I have to uninstall. If you have self control, I don't see any problem having it.
Okay, that's a pretty good set of advices. Though I would always say, keep yourself at least arm away from these apps.
Mm.
They are as addictive as cocaine and heroin. Uh,
Yes.
there's just very difficult to have them there and not use them and not get into, like you won't even notice how long you have been there, right? So so this is good that you were able to manage it by not even having it, and which I think like it's a pretty good thing that a student can do in 11th and 12th grade. So I'm assuming, as you mentioned, most of the usage of Darwin was on your tablet.
Yes, only on my tablet. I didn't have
And you did not use it through laptop either, I suppose.
I was not aware it was on the laptop.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's available like on desktop through websites and everything. So, um,
Okay.
okay. So now tell me, when you were preparing, one of the other features, the important features that we have is Prep DNA. How did you find it useful, and how did it compare to any other app that you may have used?
So first of all, comparing to any other app, as I said, there's just when I hit mid of 11th, that's when code was really slowing down. That's when I seriously got down in the field and started working. At that time only I had gotten the tab and I installed this bunch of apps. I'm not sure if I can name a few, but along with Darwin, I installed a bunch of other apps, and I used every app, all the apps for a week straight, and I don't know, personally I felt Darwin was the most useful one, even though Darwin had the least amount of downloads in the Play Store. I felt Darwin had a really good set of questions. It had a good dynamic. It had a user-friendly GUI, which I really liked, and the prep DNA actually really attracted me, and especially the readiness index, it really attracted me. Readiness index is present only in Darwin. I'm not sure if it's there in the other apps, but that and prep DNA is very very useful. Prep DNA, how you can make use of it is mainly once you're getting to the end of your preparation, as you're getting to the end of preparation, for example, let's say you've completed 11th now. Once you've completed 11th, you will have a lot of greens and reds, for example. If a chapter is weak for you, it will show a lot of red. Chapter is strong, it will show a lot of dark green. So you keep the dark green aside, and in 12th, you can focus on the red every now and then. Obviously, 12th itself is a big problem in itself. There'll be records from school. You'll have to go to you have to attend practical classes. You will have board exam pressure from relatives, teachers, all that will be there. So every now and then, or every week end itself, you can have a special time for 11th. For example, for physics, system of particles and rotational motion was a big pain for me. It did not even until the last minute. I had a lot of questions which did I could not solve. So all that for me, system of particles was completed, fully read. So in 12th, I knew I need to work on system of particles more. And there were chapters like units and measurements, motion and a straight line, these ninth grade chapters, which were completely dark green, which I only touched 3 months before the NEET exam. So what you need to work on is the red part. So the red part, prep DNA tells you very well, in my opinion.
So this is perfect. Like that's exactly what we always recommend as your practice. When you have a read, at least 50% of your time should go to the leftmost side of your prep DNA. It may include the areas that you have not studied or that are weak, right? So you combine both of them, and that is at least 50% of your study time, right? If not 60 or 70, depending on which stage you are on. And then you can also pick up the topics, subjects that you have not touched in a long while. And those things, we have now created a feature called effort DNA and guided revision.
Effort DNA, yeah.
Right. So that allows you, that tells you, like, are you putting the right kind of effort? Are you focusing on the questions that you are weaker in? Are you focusing on questions or subjects that you're not touched in a long while? Right. So there's a combination of all of them that should do. But it's really good that you yourself have been doing pretty much all the things that we really recommend our students, which is amazing. And I think that's really coming from your background where you have taken enough competitive exams and you really understand what it takes to move forward, right? Now, one thing, as you mentioned, that you have been pretty active in your school. Can you share a bit, like how much time were you going to the school in proper hours, or were you skipping it?
So in by the time I had come to 12th and I'm almost 2 months in, I had already completed portions, and I was pretty set into a revision mode type thing. So I actually did not skip even a single day of school. There was only half a day which I had skipped due to rain or something. I don't remember. Due to rain, and I really didn't want to go to school. So there was just one half a day, I think. Half a day or one day which I skipped school. Rest all days I went to school. And personally, my school, PSB Millennium School, Virgambakam, they did not actually put a lot of pressure on me. It's actually huge credit to them. There's a lot of schools whose name I don't want to mention. Actually, I have friends from the school just call me every weekend, and they'd say, I have so much homework, I have so much stuff to do. They're making us write a lot, do a lot of things. That my school provided that freedom, and I really appreciate them for that. And talking about the activities in school, I play the keyboard. I I play the keyboard, and I do stand up comedy as well. So those two are extracurriculars that I had, which I actively did, and I did a lot of quizzing as well. So I did a lot of quizzing as well, and these are the extracurriculars I had, which I practiced in 12th. Again, thank you to the school for giving me the freedom to do that. Uh, Again, as I said, it's not like if you are preparing for NEET, you should wind up all these extracurriculars and keep it away. It's all about the balance at the end of the day. When you have a proper balance going on, when you know when it's appropriate to study, when it's appropriate to not study, I think you really shouldn't have a problem.
This is really great. Like the way I put it is, uh, one of the most important things during the exam is to keep your mind fresh. And one of the easiest way to do it is to do things that you kind of love. It could be playing cricket, sports, participating in other activities. Oh, by the way, did you also play sports along with this, or did you have?
Yes, I play sports. I played football I played football with my friends in 12th. Every week, two days is the game scheduled for us. And other than that, we used to book our own turfs and go play. And now, these days, after NEET, I've been playing tennis regularly, every
So,
day.
so this is again one of the very important things I would really like to share with other students too. Is sports is very important, right? It doesn't mean that you spend like 5 or 6 hours in it, but it's very important to keep yourself sharp and focused. And by changing some of these things, it allows you to really be fit. Only thing I'll say, do not install social media stuff, right? It is not going to sharpen you, it's only going to dull you, right? So,
I personally did not have it, sir. But again, as I said, I'm pretty sure you can find a balance of have using it for maybe only half an hour to 1 hour a day. But I understand your point, sir.
right. It's like I normally say, it's like, why take a risk? It's not worthwhile taking that risk, right?
Okay. Sure.
So this is like this is very good that you have spent time on schools. You have also played some sports. So now tell me a bit more here, just to understand. Can you give me a picture of your day? Like how did you spend your average day,
In school,
or
first
during
day
the preparation in 12th grade, for example?
preparation in 12th grade. Sir, could you be more specific? Early 12th or late 12th?
Essentially, I'm trying to get to other students to understand how to balance their things. So you can say early
Okay,
or
okay.
late, depending on, just so that they understand.
I'd say late 11th. I'd say late 11th. Just to get a picture. So I go to my school is pretty nearby, but since I'm the first stop of my van, I have to get up pretty early. I have to get up at 6. I have to board the van by 6:40, 6:45, and once we get that, I get to school by 7:30, and all the school things happen, lunch break, all that happens, and the school gets over by 2:45 again. Because I'm the first stop in the morning, I'll be last stop in the evening, so I come only home only by 3:45, 4. So I'll give myself 15 to 30 minutes to wire up and take a bath, quickly eat something. My go-to, I drink something. My go-to thing is Mosambi juice, and I really like hide and seek. So those two things, and I eat a lot of almonds as well. I have a jar of almonds on my desk. So I go and sit down by 4:45 or 5. 4:30, 4:45, 5. It depends on the day of what I'm doing that day. And in the morning itself, I know myself, okay, today I'm supposed to do ecology from 12th grade. So I'd go sit down, I'd read the chapter. I have until 6 o'clock. I have until 6 o'clock to read the chapter and how much understand how much possible. For biology, for example, you can get it done within an hour. For some hard chapters in physics, you might need the entire day for studying the chapter. So I'm speaking with respect to only biology here. Biology, let's say I get it done by 1 hour. I get it done by 6. From 6 till 8:30, I'll solve as many questions as possible. In 2.5 hours, you can solve approximately 300 questions. Approximately 300 questions. You can solve because it's biology. And after that, I read dinner and sleep. Now, the second day, I do everything same. Now, if the chapter is a voluminous chapter, I'd go for a day two of practicing questions only. Now, if it is just a small chapter, for example, strategies in 12th grade, it's a very small chapter that I got done by 7:45, and I just started talking with my brother and asking him everything. So you can get it done very easy. You get it done very early. Sometimes it goes to day two. There's a chapter in chemistry called P block elements. It is the biggest chapter in the entire syllabus, and that alone took me 3 days of holiday. 3 days of holiday. So Friday, I think it was some festival. Then Saturday was a holiday. Sunday was a holiday. All the 3 days I had completely taken just to get done with P block. So there are some chapters like that, and there are some chapters like physical world which you can get it done in 15 minutes. There's a lot of chapter dynamics you need to understand. So that's how my day went.
So essentially, if I were to recap, what it would mean is like from morning till around 3:30, you would be spending all the time in school. And I would call it school, but I would also call it in social activities. And essentially, your extracurricular was all within this time, thanks to this what school was providing you. But once you came home, you became serious on NEET preparation, right? First thing, what you would do every single day is go pick up a chapter, read it properly, then start practicing questions, as many questions as you can on that chapter. And this being close together is very important, just so that you can, each one of them is reinforcing it, right? Now, so as you do this, certainly you must have made mistakes. So how would you revise your mistakes from this day?
How do you revise my mistake?
Right.
So, for example, Darwin in the app Darwin, it has this revision feature which I can go through the next day and revise the mistakes. That's nice. But while in some question banks, if they have a hard copy, you can't do that. So the best way to deal with that is just put a big circle and come back and visit it whenever you're free again. Usually for me, that wasn't as necessary because if I made a mistake, it will just stick in my mind permanently. But there are some times I made two mistake 2 times, 3 times. I get then only it goes to my brain. So that's something I didn't do, but I wish I did. Is have sort of a mistake book, so which has all your mistakes, and so you can go back and look at it regularly. And thanks to Darwin for that revision feature, I could go back and look at mistakes easier.
Okay, that's really great. I like one of the things I always try to explain to everyone is it's very important to go back and revise the questions. If a student makes a mistake in a question, and then we really have done this study multiple times, that if we give them a question for practice or we don't give them a question, and then we see after 1 month, only if they have corrected the question. So if I give you a question again for, let's say, for revision, and you still made a mistake or you got it correct, right? If you made a mistake, then chances of you really remembering your mistake is very low. right? You won't remember. It's almost like you never saw that question after a month. But if you got it correct, it makes a huge, big improvement. And the other way to put it is like what we say is like when you practice a question, it's very important to get it correct. If you get it correct, the chances of you remembering it being correct and doing it correct again after 1 month, 3 months is 70, 80% more than if you did not get it correct, right? Which the easiest way to put it is revision is the best thing you can do. And revision is not just revision, but in revision, getting the question correct is the most important thing. If you do that, that question has more value than any other question that you would practice, right? So this is a great conversation, Sahasyaa. We are running out of time. It's almost half an hour. Any last words you would like to share with the students?
Uh, if you can ask me a last question, I just answer it, sir. I'm not sure if I
So,
wanted to.
okay, so let me ask you one very important question. Whenever we prepare, one of the most important things that happens is we need a lot of support. Most of the time, it's your parents or someone, sometimes it's teacher also, that is giving you a lot of support to really get going. Who was that in your case?
So support in I think was when I started 11, it was COVID. The second wave started and everything has shut down. We had online classes. My seniors had offline classes, but we weren't having offline classes because they didn't want to risk it. And so I just spent my time online. I had wasted a lot of time. And by the time I got to the half of 11th, that's when I installed all these apps, I purchased all these books. And until then, my parents kept on asking me, saying, "This is in 10th, you didn't write board exam, and you were very lucky for that. But nobody's gonna save you when NEET comes or when other 12th board exam comes." So they put I'd say a positive pressure on me. I am very grateful for them to do that. They made it so that I understand the seriousness of the situation. So that's when I in 11th mid that's when I started to really pick up. And once I picked up and I did what I just told you, the schedule, they just left me alone, which was very nice. They just left me alone, and at, uh, during the board exam time, again, I was not. I slowed down. My pace slowed down a bit because I was focusing on subjective. At the time, again, they kept telling me saying there might be people who are putting extra effort into studying for NEET, and you should probably do the same. And again, as a positive pressure, it worked. I solved one mock paper every day, even during the board exam preparation time. So I felt that was very useful. And other than that, support-wise, biggest support my school teachers gave me is by not, not pinpointing me or not putting extra pressure on me or not by giving me extra tasks. Like I've heard teachers from other schools who say, write 10 questions down and come tomorrow. They never did that to me. I'm extremely grateful for that. And otherwise, uh, I'd say my friends were there to cheer me up every time. They were a good a good balance between studying and having fun. They put a really good value on that. I'd say shout out to my friends, and other than that, nothing I can say.
That's a really great feedback. In fact, yes. In reality, what happens is just to give a small commentary on it. Like many times, people think parents' job is to either push hard, but normally it's not that the case. They are really guiding light for you, right? Many times you are making mistakes, and they being with you, they can always correct it. They don't have to work very hard, but they are always keeping track of your progress. And I'm assuming that's also true with you.
Yes, yes. They didn't exactly track my progress. They sort of knew if I was studying, if I was being lazy, or if I was being productive. If I was being lazy, they just knew. They just see me and they'll find out that oh, you're being lazy today. What's this? And if I'm being productive, they'll just keep quiet. So I, that's the skill they have.
Awesome. So thanks for the really great interview, Sahasyaa. Thanks a lot, and
Thank you
congrats
so much,
again.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Uh,
Thank you to Darwin team, sir. Thank you to the Darwin team. Thank you for the amazing support the app has provided me. I just wanted to tell that. And there's no feedback, particularly from my side. Just keep doing what you can. So it's very nice.
Thanks a lot for appreciating us. It helps a lot. Most people don't realize that this MCQD, when everything was really started as a non-profit. I still have the same focus there. It's like to help as many students as we can. Uh, Profits are not at all the goal. And the goal is really to help students who can work hard. That's our motto, in fact. That's what we say. Help every hardworking student achieve their goal, right? So that is what we work on. And when students like you who really appreciate back and use it for what it's created, that is the biggest achievement for us. And thanks for giving us just that. Thanks a lot.